As scientists, we look at the world through different lenses. Now, if you're a historian, that could be a historical lens. If you're a political scientist, that lens could be political. For me, as a linguist, that lens is linguistic in nature. I look at the world through the lens of language to try and make sense of it. Now, in the English Language and Culture department where I work, it won't surprise you that we're studying the works of Shakespeare, George Orwell, Emily Dickinson, Geoffrey Chaucer. But if we can study the classics like that, why can't we study modern classics? The works of Eminem, Doechii, Tupac, Kendrick Lamar. My name is Steven Gilbers. I'm an assistant professor in English linguistics here at the University of Groningen, and I specialize in hip-hop linguistics, the study of language in the context of hip-hop music and culture. In some circles, hip-hop has a bit of a negative reputation, so it might come as a surprise to people when they hear that hip-hop is being studied in academia. But really, if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Hip-hop has existed for over 50 years, and in that time, it's grown to be one of the most influential subcultures around the world. Language plays an important role in hip-hop culture, not just in the rap lyrics, but also in everyday life. Members of the hip-hop community actively use language to express themselves, to express their regional affiliations, and to relate themselves to each other and to the rest of the world. And we can study that. So what does that look like? Well, for instance, currently I'm working on a project that looks at the feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, in which Kendrick is actively using language to target Drake for being inauthentic. For my PhD research, I looked at Tupac Shakur, the famous gangster rapper from the 1990s, to see how his accent and his style of rapping changed over time. You see, the thing is, Tupac was originally from New York, from the East Coast, but eventually in his life, he became the leader of West Coast hip-hop. And that was interesting to me because I wondered if that change from the East to the West Coast had affected his way of speaking and his way of rapping. Turns out that yes, it did. Tupac started speaking more with a West Coast accent, and the rhythms and melodies that he picked in his music became more West Coast-like as well, to express this newfound identity of a true West Coast gangster rapper. So these are some of the things that we can learn from studying the language of hip-hop. We learn about language, we learn about music, about hip-hop culture, about the hip-hop community, how they relate to each other, to the rest of the world, and how language and hip-hop shape their worldviews. And I think that's incredibly important in these times of polarization where people don't really listen to each other enough, and there's a growing number of misunderstandings between people all over the world. The thing is, if you're studying the language of hip-hop, you're not just studying the language of hip-hop, you're studying how the world works. In the words of Dead Prez, it's bigger than hip-hop.